Okay, back with another video. Gonna focus on FL Studio again. I want to show another track and the composition. Let's take a look, see what we got here. This track is called Nemesis. Just gonna open up the accompanying notes. Okay. It consists of a few parts, like an entry part, and then there's almost like a question answer type second part. So almost like a question, I guess. And then let's skip on a little bit here. Second part, violins doing their thing. Third part, question, answer, and then the end. Let's take a look at this. Before I continue, I just want to show some of the techniques I'm using here. Using my keyboard, so I'm just going to go to the the horns here, horn sustained, and if I press and hold the key, right, I get a sustain, so it's a long note, and if I do staccato, it's short. So even if I hold in the key, it doesn't sustain. And then there's pizzicato. Just looking at the second violins here, it might be a little bit low, so I'm just going to jump an octave up. This is almost like a pluck, which is really cool. If you, let's go to the cello staccato, the pluck. I'm going to go one octave down. And then, so those are like the different strums that you basically get with this pack. This is a Sonatina Symphonic Orchestra. It's a free pack. I just want to check my mic stopped working last time. And then these are the instruments that I used. There's quite a few. There's which we'll go through what I used here. So this is some of the cool things you can do here. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? Where's my sustain? Right. Some inspiration. What else? See if I can get a viola. A viola is one of my favorites. Yeah, okay, let's move on. What do we have here? The way I like to start is by driving the melody. So I'm using the viola here to drive the melody. This is the melody that I came up with, keeping with the D-A-G-D as the chords, and then I think this is D-A-G-D again. Yeah. The D-C-B-A is for the second part. Okay. Is the mic still out? Man, second time I'm doing this. Let's take a look at the bassoon. Start dropping these guys off. Huzzah. Take a look at the bassoon. So this is just playing a D and an A. Okay. And combining those two, you get the and then the horns are keeping in that, also doing a GID. It's a GIGD, but it's going higher. Right? Horns is one of my favorites. And it's really hot in here. I need to turn the aircon on. Excuse me. And then there's bass pizzicato. The bass pizzicato is supplementary. Sort of keeping the beat and staying within the DIGD construct. And then combined with the bass sustain, right? You get the effect here. And then the violins kick in here. Violins 1, there's first and second violins. Let's just take a look at these guys. That's the cello. So the violin sustain 1 is actually 3 instruments playing together at the same time. The cello sustained, second violin, and the flute sustained. The flute is also a really awesome instrument. Right, and let's just hear what this pattern here on its own sounds like. Crisp and clear notes, not too many variation on the notes, so it's keeping the notes pretty solid. And then combined with the other instruments, that's what I was going for there. And then here's a little bit of where the track starts changing. So here's the bass staccato 2, well, bass staccato first pattern, or first, I don't want to call it movement, it's not really a symphony. Second part, second piece of the first part, something like that, right? Because it's part of, I guess this bass staccato 1, this 1 means it's part of this 1 here, and this would be 2, right? But it's supplementary, so it's second. And then 3, they have 2 parts here. So let's just hear what this sounds like. You can see here it's a lot of stuff happening here. There's the bass staccato, bass sustained, cello sustained, viola, bassoon, and then the horns. And you can see they're pretty much keeping. Let's just hear what they sound like here. Right? So you can hear the bass sustain. If I take that away, it's just going to be a bunch of sustained notes. Pretty crisp and clear. Some of them are going up and down in the octave, still staying in that key. And then the bass is doing something a little bit different here. Almost like not keeping the beat kind of thing, right? And then we've got the cello staccato, which is here. Now this guy, you can see the patterns here are all pretty much the same. So it's just emphasizing the notes that I'm going for. It's almost like a stabby kind of sound. And if you just solo that out, you can hear what it sounds like. Once again, D, A, G, D. Staying inside of that construct. And the percussion is here as well, playing a little part and doing its little thing here. You can barely hear it because it's right. Combine that, and then hear there's a second part to it as well. Actually, a third part, which is the bass staccato 1-3 and cello staccato 1-3, which sounds like this. So it's almost like a question-answer kind of thing. What I was going for there, pretty much same construct. And then here the second part, I guess the second part kicks in. More like the mid part, I guess. So let's look at the horns mid, see what I did here. Just play this on its own. Let's just bump it up a little bit. A, D. See what else we got here. What is this? What are the horns doing? D, A, G, D. As you can see there. Then you combine those, of course, and then you get a fuller sound. And then here, the second part kicks in. So violas 2 kick in here. So violas 2 are quite a few instruments playing together here. We've got the bass pizzicato again. If I just solo this for a second, ooh, take that away. This is going to be then D, C, B, A. There's the D, C, B, A, and then I think it's repeating D, C, B, A again. Excuse me. Bass sustain. Let's take a look at the bass sustain here. Just move it on. Right? D, C, B, A. Very crisp and clear notes. They're not going too crazy off script. And then here again, here you can see there's a little bit more melody. So I guess this guy's providing the melody, right? And then it's going to go up here. If you look at the pattern here, it's going to jump up a little bit. And let's see what are the bass sustains doing here. 11 minutes already. Okay, gotta move on to the next one. Let's take it to about here. Put it more back. What have I done? So then the violin sustain 2 kicks in here, and violin sustain 2 it's just the cello and the violin giving some long sustains here, and then there's the final part here. It's still part of the second, I guess the second part of the song, because it's still D, C, B, A. And then violin staccato 2 looks like this. Where is it? Violin staccato 2. As you can see, it's a whole bunch of instruments just doing their thing. So solo a few of these. And let's look at the cello. Cello is just plural for cello, I think. Doesn't sound like plural, but whatever. And then the first violin should be going pretty high, because the first violin's range, or everywhere where it's gray here, it's not going to work. So they're pretty high, and the second violins. Oh, what are you doing, man? Second violins are just echoing what the first violins are doing. And then I wanted, so this is the question part, right? And then there's something providing an answer. So I'm just going for the flute here. If we just jump there, and the flute's muted. So that's it. And then it's just going to keep on going down. Let's include the horns here. So that's like the the end part. And if we combine those, you get the idea here. Let's move it up to there. And right, and then it's just going to drop off to the end. You can catch the stuff on my SoundCloud. Links in the channel, my channel about if you want to go check out the full song. I'm not going to play it here because I want to show one more. Which one? I wanted to show Floral, but I'm not going to show that. I want to show something that's part of the. Let's do one of the fight songs. I was planning on actually doing another one. So this one would typically play. I think there's only 2. This one would typically play if you're in combat. Let's just quickly hear what it sounds like. So there's a lot more stabby kind of racy, and the notes a lot more sharp notes used, right? So let's just go straight to Jelly 1 here and just take a look what I'm doing here. Right, let's see. So there's the you can hear that. It almost sounds like it's false. So that's what I was going for there. Look at the violins one here. A lot of sharp notes, so a lot of black notes used here to produce that almost like a tension. And then the choir and all that stuff is just chiming in there. Let's look at the notes for this. I'm not sure if I have notes for these. I hope I do. I know some of them I didn't have any. This one doesn't have any notes. Let's take a look at the choir. See what I did here. Very low male voices. Half note up, so the C sharp, and then drops down to the G. So it's this, and this is on 3 bars, which is interesting. So you can see the 3 bars here if you just look at my mouse cursor. 3 bars, and then here I've actually chopped it. It's the same pattern, but I just chopped the last note here, so now it becomes 4 bars repeating for 2, right? Because it's the first 2 bars. Let's move on here and see what do we got on the second part. So this is like almost releasing tension. Because it's starting up higher and then going lower. You can see the Celli 2 if you just look at Celli 2. See what it's trying to do here. No. And then goes higher. Because the same construct, so it's staying within the minor chord that I chose here, whatever that is. I'm not really even sure, but obviously those notes work together. This is C, B. I mean, from B to A sharp is literally just one. Here's B, 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 B is over here. B to A sharp. So I mean that's just that half note. It's not really it's probably some sort of minor chord, right? And then you can see it's just progressing down. So these other guys will try and stay in that construct. Even the choir 2, if you look at choir 2, what they're doing. Okay, so this is kind of like the boring. Hey. It's just going down. You can see those C, B, A sharp, A. So it's just going half notes down all the time. Then combining those together, you get the. Because it sounds, using those half notes, it sounds a bit more, I don't know, what's the word to use? Racy, fighty, stressful kind of thing. And then here's some release, right? This is like the real, mid-section of the song. So now we break, and that's not it. So don't move that thing. Just check here. There we go. So then it would break out into this. So there's a little bit of release from the tension. Right, so you got a chance to live or get away or whatever. And let's see, these are, you can see 4 bars here. Let's take a look at choir 3. So here I chose G, C, A sharp, D will be the bass chords. A very famous chord, a very famous chord arrangement. And, you know, there's no such thing as an original chord arrangement. It's just we're not that good. Okay, so and then here we just add some more. We're adding the violins 3 here, and harp. The choir, obviously, the choir is getting more intense to indicate, you know, maybe you won't die. But then there's the final part of the song. You're going back to the here, you're in trouble. Once we take a look, let's take a look at violins 3 and just see what I did here. I'm pretty sure violins 3 are going to include quite a few instruments. Yeah, so it's the second violin sustain. Solo that quickly. They're almost providing a bit of a melody. I'm not. Oh, there's a little bit of a sustain on the G on the G here, going over to the next chord, the G and the C really work well together there. Let's take a look at the harp. What's the harp doing? You can see the harp's just doing a short little stabby sound. It's just playing the same notes that the second violin is playing, just to echo that, and then combine that with the choir. Now keep in mind there's also another choir playing here at the same time. So there's this choir here and then choir 3. So that's where you get the fuller effect. Come on, what did I do? And combine that. The percussion is just doing what it's been doing the whole time. It's the same the same tempo, 20 minutes. Okay, I gotta, and then there's the same part as the mid section there again. You can see the notes just doing dropping off by half a note there. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. I think that's going to be it for the soundtracks. I'm not going to be showing any more soundtrack recaps or videos. I've already integrated this into the game. So I want to show the background music, do a recap on the background music, how I did it, not in FL Studio, in Unreal Engine itself with the audio and all that. So I've got a guy there playing music at various times. I've also integrated the fight music, and what else? I've also done interface music. We can maybe just quickly show one example. Let's go for death. Yeah, it's a bit morbid. Success. Yeah, success. That's awesome. That's the one where something happens. So success is when you've leveled up. I chose to use this when you level up. It's just a short little epic, heroic kind of sound, and it sounds like this. Want to hear? That's literally it. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to show how I did those integrations there. So my mic's not working, thank goodness. Alrighty, I'm going to just exit with this one here. I'm not going to be in the game. I did this one for fun. It's called Floral. This is like the typical answer question kind of. I was really playing around with the cello here. I just liked it. It reminded me of this regal type sitting with Louis XIV. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. And then there's a bit of a question answer again, and then there's the full. You can almost see the spinet, even though there's no spinet in your anyway. Yeah. Alrighty then. Thanks for watching, guys, gals, whatever. Catch you on the flip side.